Okay, we are live. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to our second Grassroots chat with Clinton. And it's a very exciting session that we have right now because we have a very special guest, Stan Wesley, who's a very close friend of Clinton's. And so we're very honored and privileged to have him join us today and take the time to have a chat with us. So I'll let you.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey, Stan, my man, it is so good to see you over there. I'm over here. You're over there. You're in the East. I'm in the West. But we are connected, brother. How are you?
I'm really, really great. Starting off the day with a beautiful fire, guys. Oh, I tell you.
Nice.
So nice. I'm hoping that it'll light with the matches. Otherwise, I'm getting at the butane torch.
Again?
And that's not, well, so I'm hoping. Let's see what happens, okay?
Perfect.
Stop, drop, and roll, Stan. Just stop, drop, and
roll. Yeah, get the 911 ready on speed dial.
Yeah. Awesome. And just a quick mention to those that are joining us live. As always, we welcome any comments. Even if you're just watching and want to say hi, just feel free to do so. And yeah.
So, Stan, I think across Canada, I was thinking about it. There's got to be a lot of people that know who you are, but I would be remiss if I didn't let you just speak to who you are, because you're that dude. So, Stan, everyone.
So I want to say Wachie Miswek to all of you, and Wachik in my language means hello, and Miswek meaning people. So hello, everybody. And the spirit of this of the medicine wheel, we have all the different beautiful colors, and as long as you take position in that circle, you're always welcome there, right? Without any question, just take position in it. So when I say Miswek, I'm talking all of you. So I want to say hello. My name is Stan. I'm originally from Moose Cree First Nation territory, Hudson Bay, James Bay, the southern tip of James Bay. That's where I'm from. I've been traveling around, and I've had great fortune. I'm not talking about money, not at all, but I've had great fortune and living a rich life, not talking about money at all. And what I mean by the richness in life is when you travel around and you work with people that want to make the communities better, you meet some amazing folk, just amazing, beautiful folks. Clinton is one of those amazing folks. Amanda is one of those amazing folks, and many of you. So for the ones that know me, hello, Wachie. For the ones that don't, Wachie Miswek. May we meet sometime in the future in person when this pandemic ends. This fire right here, for me, when I go over and I am in a Shabatuan, or I am in a Skigan, or I'm in a longhouse or a teepee, and then you walk in with a fire and there's a group of people in there, what does that fire represent? Something good's going to happen. There's going to be good conversation. There's going to be a good feast. There's going to be goodness happening. And it could be a social fire. It could be a ceremonial fire. But when there's fire, something deadly, and deadly means good, is about to happen. And this fire here, it represents goodness, but it also represents memorial, and it represents healing. And this fire is for all of you that needs a little bit of fire and a little bit of spark in your life. The last couple of weeks, and I think we can all agree, has been very, very difficult in a lot of our communities around the country. It's been tough. It's been traumatic. So this fire here is a loving fire, and may this fire give you the spark to continue doing your good work around the country. And that means to you, Amanda, overseas. That means you, Clinton, you and your family. And that means all of you that are listening right now. So there we go. That's fire. And I'm hoping my pants don't catch on fire. I hope I'm not an extension of this physical fire.
Make wedge for that, Stan. Make wedge for that. You know, Stan has been talking all across the country, and of course he's a speaker, but he's also a wonderful host, and I guess he's an ambassador to the youth. I feel he does a lot with the youth, and he's really helped the next generation feel good about themselves. That's something that I always think of you, Stan. And if I go back in time, now it's kind of funny because the way we met, I think it's got to be maybe 15. I don't know, maybe 15 years, because things have it seems time has gone fast. But I think you were in Waswanipi, correct? Like you were up in USG in Cree Country. Is that where I first saw you?
Absolutely, yes. It's been so long. Our hair follicles were producing darker filament back then.
Is that what you're going to say now? Is that
much darker filament? And there's a reason why I'm wearing this hat. So yeah, we were in beautiful Waswanipi, and whenever we're in Cree territory or any other traditional territory, but this part, the Cree, the EU, they take good care of us, Clinton.
Oh,
we eat, and we just don't eat stuff from the store.
No,
we're eating stuff from the land.
Yeah,
and we're sitting together, and our hands are greasy, and we've got beautiful food covered with our hands and all over our faces. We're eating like our ancestors did. Yeah. Just digging right in, and when we dig in with the food, we can't help but just really connect.
And I think about how amazing, because that's where I think we started our journey of our connection, of our values, of the preservation of culture, and how important it was when you were there, when I was there. We were working on things for the community that brought them together, and they were celebrating their culture, and they do it so well. And they've, most people speak 3 languages. They practice all their traditional, they have holidays, their traditional holidays, moose break, goose break, so many things, and they're just so immersed in the culture. Everyone comes back to the communities because they just love where they are, and it keeps growing. And that's where we started. And I remember we were in a van, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're such a good guy. Hey, yeah, we should connect sometime. And then I think it was Amanda. We were driving back, and it was like, yeah, take care. Anyway, it ends up one day I'm walking in my neighborhood, and who lives in my neighborhood?
What?
So then we did weird things. We went out and we had, I think we used to go out to the bagel place. We used to go for bagels. I think we went to that Greek place for some good desserts. You had a favorite Greek place. We did that.
Yeah, man.
We did some really fun things. And then the one funny thing I remember is us going to the Rogers Open to watch tennis. You and me, dressed for the nines.
Yeah. Tennis anyone? And the tennis anyone is kind of different because there's really not too many people that kind of look like us there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting. Yeah. But it was neat because we met so far away, and we've seen each other around the country. But turns out we just live 5-7 minutes away from each other. That was neat.
Yeah.
And just when my new brother was we're starting to get into the vibe. What did you do to me? You moved away.
I moved away. But then you moved closer to me again now.
That's true, yeah.
We're only 30 minutes away.
So this isn't my property in Toronto, because that's where, we lived. I was living in the beaches in Toronto. And I would probably say my front yard was probably the size of this fire pit.
Yeah.
And nowadays, we got beautiful 3 acres here, and it's just it's gorgeous. And I couldn't have imagined I'm having to persevere this pandemic there in Toronto, and living in that small little property and small little house. We feel so fortunate. We feel so privileged to live here. We're just thankful always.
You're not too far from Six Nations.
No, Six Nations. I'm just going to point. I'm not going to point with lips because that's kind of cliche. So I'm just going to say Six Nation is just over here. and then Brantford is all their territory. But the town is just over here. Ancaster's over here, and it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes to Ancaster, 20 minutes to Hamilton, and 2 minutes to Six Nations. And let me tell you one thing, because we know how important it is to live in territory, and we need to honor territory everywhere we go. And every single step that we take anywhere on Turtle Island is somebody's territory. We just need to be thankful. And one of the things that we can do to kind of reconcile and figure out a good way forward for the ones that are listening is learn a little bit more from the territory that you live in. Go to the friendship centers and tell us a little bit more about this, and bring your kids with you. and make that a family project where you can sit and listen to stories. And at the end of the day, our kids love stories. It's all they ever tell. It's all they ever want to hear is stories. And stories is just rich. When we moved in here, we had this beautiful elder Gail come by and do ceremony for us because we were just so thankful to live here. And we just wanted to make sure that we did it right, to make sure that we're honoring this land as best we could.
And that's what we say, like for the culture or cultural preservation in Grassroots, it doesn't have to start off with a destination. Oh, we have to go and see this place. You can just go and understand and learn. And it starts off small, and it's the people. And when you start with the people and the community, and then you let it grow, and then you can add on things, sure. But really, the essence of tourism for communities, Indigenous tourism, starts with exactly what you're saying. It's just find out, just get to know the people. And once you do, that's it. That's the product, is the people. If you're looking at it as tourism, but certainly the heart and the soul and learning about the culture and just being, and actually just even being there and feeling and walking on that land to start with. Never mind the big buildings. That's what you need to just have that respect and understanding.
Yeah, I was in Wendake, Quebec, and people, Wendake is north and Quebec City is kind of in the south area. It's kind of all connected with all these buildings. And I was in Wendake, and I went for a run. I'm a runner, and I don't know if you can tell by the runner's body, but I was running along the river, and I was just so overwhelmed. And I thought to myself, we tend to want to go down into Quebec City and Old Quebec to kind of look at the history. That's pretty cool, and that's it's pretty awesome. But I think to myself as I was running, there's a lot of history here, and this beautiful, like the flow of the water. Who was like, tell me, I want to know more about who used to, the stories that people told, or like all of that beautiful stuff, right? I want to hear the story of that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want just to hear the story of that building. I want to hear the story of the people from the people. And you don't have to go to anything physical. All we need to do is connect with the people and get people comfortable enough to be able to want to tell their own stories, right?
That's right. 100%. Well, Amanda, are we derailing? Because usually the Grassroots chats, of course, they're organic in nature, as tourism should be.
Yeah.
So Amanda's looking at us going, guys, I have some questions for you. So we
don't
really know who you are, but Amanda, we don't want to slow you down.
No, I love it. And it's just with this whole thing with storytelling, and it's another way of when I first was introduced to Stan, and I'm not sure if you remember Stan, but I think it was 2013 or 2014 with our My Community app projects. We did one in your hometown, Moose Factory, and we also did one with Chesterfield Inlet that you had some connections with Patrick that so it's just and those projects are just incredible and had just amazing results, just to see the community coming together, youth getting involved, and just loved those projects.
Right. When I remember the Moose Cree, when we talked about it, Stan's like, I got to do this. We have these elders, we have so many stories to tell, we have to document it, put it in digital. And of course, Stan's got a great background. Oh, wait a minute. I just remembered something. He's got a great background in producing and TV and all of this stuff. Stan, what was that character you were on APTN many, many moons ago?
Okay, when I was a little bit of a backstory here. When I was younger, my parents would never let me say there's nothing to do, right? and I'm kind of like my parents now, and I'm sure you're kind of like yours as well. And Amanda, you will be eventually, where your kids says, I'm bored. It's like there's always something to do. When I was a kid, I played the sticks, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
We're getting old.
Yeah.
So I kind of, I was getting involved in my community. I was volunteering at the local YMCA. We had a YMCA extension affiliated with Manitoulin, Ontario, which is kind of interesting connection, but I won't go there. But we had a wonderful relationship there. So I was always kind of like volunteering and helping and coaching kids and wanting to make my community better. I came across Wawate was kind of an institution, and it still is with the radio, amazing. The TV, They've ceased operations there, I believe, for a while, but the radio and the newspaper, I believe, is still going relatively strong. So it was big every other Sunday on TV Ontario. Years ago, they used to be the Video Awashishak series, and the Video Awashishak series was a half-hour show meant for kids. And when I was in high school, grade 10, I went to co-op, half day there and half day at school. And my producer Paul Ricker's like, "Okay, Stan, what do you think? You have any ideas?" And I thought, I think we should make this show funny. We should have a comedy element to this story. So he's like, "What do you have in mind?" And I'm like, and he's like, "You just can't come up with a suggestion without something concrete. I'm not going to let you get too critical of my show if you have nothing to add to make it better." Teachable moment, right? How often many people are watching right now. People are complaining, but nobody has an answer. Probably 100% of everybody.
Yeah.
So I went home and I came back and we started fleshing out this idea, and we decided to do a 5-minute segment of every video Awash. I can actually have my own little show. So my little show was the character was called Bunuck, Bunnuck, and just kind of an eccentric type of Mr. Bean type of character, something fun, something silly, and it was just meant for comedy, and we just thought, well, just put one thing on the air and we'll just kind of see what happens. And people started liking it, and we started developing some momentum. And I went from TV to do more community-based type of performances. I did some touring. People invite me to festivals, and I did some online, some live stuff. I went to one community. I'm gonna drop this community's name just because. Beautiful Kingfisher Lake up in northwestern Ontario.
Aha.
And beautiful, right now. So they have this one little area where they have a little golf course. So they have it's just one little area, and they just kind of chip from green to green. It's almost like in a bit of a circle. It looks really cool. So they invited me out, and I did a live show there. And I was doing my thing, and and not getting much of a reaction. But I thought, you know what? Hey, man, let's just keep going. There was one guy way off in the distance that was laughing so hard, and I thought, this guy, I want to meet this guy. So after I was done, this guy was laughing so hard, I went to go see him. And I introduced myself. He didn't speak English. He just spoke Anishinaabe. And then I asked through an interpreter, because I had a contact that was with me. I'm like, I'm just curious what made it so funny. He's like, "You remind me of my cousin."
That's deadly.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when I started transitioning and doing things like this, like speaking and traveling around and doing facilitation and keynotes, it was a relatively easy transition because people already knew me doing that.
Awesome.
So so it was a little bit of easier transition, but it's easy to transition to do something, but it's tougher to maintain the momentum because people might know you, but if you're terrible, no one's going to have you back.
Yeah.
Right. So you can have a big name, but if you're awful, then you're not going to last long in the circuit. I've been going strong 25 years.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, maybe I would say 25 years. Yeah, 25 years. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. And the passion still is there and going strong.
Well, this is
The passion.
Yeah. This is something interesting too, because a lot of what you have done on your journey has been organic, and it wasn't like you said, this in this space of time I have to accomplish this. You did it. You started off with the right intentions, and you had that passion, and you had that in your values, in your heart, and it led you down this path. And I often think, we have people that say, tourism, oh, I need to do this, and we say, you know what, there is a time for when it will happen if you start with the right intentions, and if you have in your mind what you want to do, and let it happen organically, let it happen when it needs to. And which is something, Stan, I always come across is timing, and what that means in the Indigenous context. And sometimes the Western world has a very different view of what that means. And so for me, I'd like you to speak on, timing. When is the time right?
So I love what you're talking about collaboration. Like that's really, really important. And what I love about collaborating with good people like yourself in these projects and teamwork is that we come in with the right intention and we say, okay, this is what we're going to do. But then something happens and it forces us to kind of take stock and say, okay, let's not even like retreat, but let's kind of like put this in park for a second, listen to one another, share our ideas. If we're surrounded with the right people, not necessarily even in the communities, but just the right people, we can accomplish anything and always find a way to move forward. But we need to be able to listen, build an element of trust, and never wing it. Because when I'm doing my thing, I carry pieces of paper, but like PowerPoint, that kind of thing, that's not what I do. Like I speak. Sometimes people say, "What are you going to say today? What are you going to do today?" I'm like, "I'm going to read the room. I want to see what's going on. I want to know what the dynamics are within the space. I want to know whether the fan's going to come on every 7 minutes right above me. I want to know if there's a huge pillar in front of the room. Like I need to know all of this before I kind of like have a concrete plan."
And you
think about it.
And you adapt.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? Because if we're working with the right people that are able to adapt and have a different methods, then despite the layout of anything, whether it be literally or figuratively, you can figure it out and you won't wing it. Somebody will say, "I've done this before, it's worked, try it." Right? And when there's like 25 years on the road doing stuff, I'm pretty much set up for every possibility. Yeah. Right. And one time I was in Attawapiskat, Ontario, and then we were in this one old building, and then the men's bathroom was right there, right by the stage as we're conducting these meetings. And every time a person of a certain gender walked in, you could hear clear as day what was going on in that bathroom.
Oh no.
So I was like, okay. So like that's just one example, right? I'm like, all right, okay, let's just kind of see what happens here. And boom, that person's letting it rip. You know, if it's a young person, it's louder. If it's an older person, it's a little longer and a little more spread out, a little more inconsistent, right? Getting a little more inconsistent, right?
Oh my God.
I was like, it's like this. So what do we do? What do we do at a time like this? We make fun and we have fun. Right? And that's what we do. If we're able to laugh with it, and then what does it do to the audience and what does it do to the community? It lets people know that we're human. Yeah. Right? It lets people know that we're human. And that's really important. Sometimes you, Amanda, and you, Clinton, people will test you, including me, they'll test us to see how we react to certain things. Just to kind of see how would they react to something like this, right? So all we can do is just laugh. All we can do is just laugh.
And I find when you have laughter and you have the right intention, you have this amazing ability to be compassionate.
For sure.
And I think when we're doing things, whether it's our projects and we're working with our clients, we always have compassion. There is, again, to the timing, there isn't, oh, we're supposed to have that done this Monday. You know, that's not how the world works. But when it's right, and when it feels right, it's going to be done. We know it's going to be done. And Stan, I shared this story with Stan, but one of the elders I used to know from USG, I remember he said to me, he said, you know, there is no time. You don't tell a hunter that on Tuesday, January 14th, you're going to go shoot that moose. When it's right, when it's needed, when it's a gift, when it's the everything's aligned, and when you put your tobacco out, you go and you're going with the right intention, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen, right? Yep. So, and that's something that I want all of our friends to be reminded of as we're going on in developing tourism. Don't get caught up in and I'll say it, Stan, in the mainstream way of doing things. There is a way of doing it that it fits and sees or feels right with you. And your community and your people. If you don't do it with those intentions, and if you don't have that timing that's right, well, then it's not going to be yours. It's going to be somebody else's, right? So
yeah, I was in a restaurant one time in Toronto. I was waiting for my wife. My wife's a lawyer, and she worked in this legal clinic, Aboriginal Legal Services, Toronto, and she was a lawyer. She was the executive director there for a while. And she had a big position, so she said, "Pick me up at 5," and then she wouldn't come out till 6, right? And one time I believe it was like, "Okay, I'll be ready at 5," and then so I got this huge meeting, and I said, "I'll just stick around." So I went for a snack. I went for dim sum in Toronto. So I had some dim sum in Toronto, and I was sitting there having some dim sum, some hargao. There was these 4 nurses sitting behind me, and these 4 nurses were sitting behind me, and they were talking about Indian time, and they just got back from one of the communities up in Anishinaabe Nation territory. I'm not going to say which one, but they got up there and they were frustrated. They were frustrated about the concept of Indian time, and they said if it wasn't for the Indian time, we just get so much more done. And it bothered me, but it wasn't their fault. And the reason why it wasn't their fault is because it's somebody within the community that is using that Indian time as an excuse to be lazy or to be slow. And that bothers me. And that really bothers me. It's one of my pet peeves. So when we talk about true Indian time or traditional time, it has very little to do with this. And you mentioned this already, Clinton, so beautifully. It has everything to do with what's around us in nature, right? So when the storm comes, we don't know when it's going to hit. But if we're ready for it, then we're going to be okay. When the fish start running, right? And if we're ready for it, we'll feast in the bounty of those fish. But we just have to be ready for it. We just got to trust that we're going to be ready for it. Let's get prepared. As my dad would say, he says this, it's kind of like when you need to go for a number 2. And if you ignore it, you'll eventually poop your pants. Right? That's just an example, right? So, but we have to honor our traditional time and our beautiful traditional time and quit making an excuse for it and tell the world that we're slow or lazy. We're not slow. We're not lazy. But our elders say this when it comes down to this time here, we put the traditional in it by honoring other people's time.
That's right.
So when we go into a community and we listen to stories from our elders and we say, we're putting a hard 4-day cap on this, and we're going to start at 9:00 and we're going to end at noon for lunch, and we're gonna start up at 1 and we're going to end at 3:30. Get ready for somebody at some point is going to be able to tell a long story, and you might not get out of there until 5.
That's right.
Or 6, right? And you may not get everything done in the 3 days or 4 days.
And you respect the process. You respect the process.
And you have to respect the process. So when you ask people to share and ask people to tell stories, it becomes almost ceremonial because you're asking something from their memory bank and from in their DNA. So we have to also be careful about what the kind of questions that we ask. We need to be mindful for. It's almost like in the morning you see somebody and you say this, "How are you?" Like, that's a heated question, man. Yeah. So like if somebody asks me, one time I was in an airport in Halifax, somebody asked me in the morning, he was asking everybody, "How are you?" And then it got to me and I'm like, "I'm constipated." I told him, and he's like,
I'm just going to go off on a tangent here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I see a theme going on with you here, Stan.
I was just going to say that
too. I'm just saying. He's not having coffee, so that's good. But there is something really, really, I think, wonderful about that. And here's the thing. We've had people say to us, "Oh yeah, we've been trying to engage the community," and then there's some people, there's the naysayers and there's the people that are always constantly negative. But you know what? Everybody has a contribution, and be prepared when you ask them. They have the right to tell their story, or they have their perception of the world. It's important, and you have to be compassionate. So it doesn't matter. You're not looking for consensus every time you meet because you think you're doing something great. It's okay for people to really say what they want because you're asking them, and that's their right. And so don't be afraid of that. And in fact, encourage it, because it's an opportunity for education or for more dialogue or for us to understand each other better, right? So
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, when we ask questions, we have to put this stuff down. Yeah. Like we have to. And I was at a meeting one time and they were talking about reconciliation. And then I tell the truth. I tell the truth. But the elder was speaking and half the government people were on their phones while the elder was saying a prayer in the morning. It's like, if we can't even put our phones down and pray and have a moment to respect the elders' prayer, how are we going to even achieve anything if you don't even have the respect to listen to the prayer and be a part of it? And I had to go around and I had to be the heavy. And I'm like, you need to put your phone down.
Yeah.
Just put it down.
Yeah.
Like there's always time for that. But when it comes down for this, you have to make time because people are watching you. People are watching how you listen. We don't listen anymore, right? So we're going in, engaging, our listening, our consulting, it's all kind of the same thing. Our people have been engaged out, and our people have such low expectations about engagement.
Yeah.
Right? So what we need to do, and the reason why there's low expectations is because we've said with minimal action, right?
Right.
Are we said and people aren't listening? Are we said and then people didn't take the time to get off their devices?
Yeah.
So when we go in and we ask people to tell stories, then we need to go in with the right mindset, and we need to go in with a little bit more love.
Yeah.
And we need to go in with some respect, and we cannot be afraid to say that word. And we say, I'm here and I'm going to bring the love. And what's love mean? It's not a threatening word. It just means you care lots for people and you care lots for the process. That's all it means. Once we really define it, that's all it really means. It's a non-threatening thing, right?
Yeah.
But then once people feel good, like how often do you go somewhere and people 100% take the time to listen to you and you say, wow, that was amazing. What made it so amazing? They listened.
They listen. Yeah. Compassionate and listening. And so often we go in with our own objective. And I say we, meaning this is human nature. You know that you want to do something, you know, you want to develop something, and you go in with this good intention. We got to get this done. We got to get the community behind us. It's so important to preserving our culture. It's so important for us to move forward. And then you forget that your objective is the loud sound in your head and you're not listening. And but if you listen and you actually pick up, there hasn't been one session that I've been involved in that I have not learned something. And I continue to learn, and I'm always learning, and I embrace that you learn something, and it may even come out in a different way, and you may not like the way it comes out, but there is always something to learn. And you go in with compassion and you listen, oh my goodness, you become a Stan Wesley. That's
yeah.
And you know what? To me, this kind of like it's a rite of passage. As you sit and listen to somebody, and they say, "Hey, why don't you come over for some tea?" And it's like, you want me to come into your space? It's just so wonderful. Or people like, "Can I have your card?" And then they actually call you, or they actually message you, or they actually text you. To me, that's kind of like you're in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's got to be. We can either say, okay, you tell me a story, and then it's going to go in the report, and then I'd see you later. But when it's mean something, is that it's something long lasting or something beautiful there. It's friendship, it's family, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, again, I mentioned this earlier, but it's the passion, and I think this is something again we're aligned with. Is this passion for the next generation, the youth? We use this word youth and elders every time we're going to do engagement. We want to make sure our youth and our elders, we say it, but what does it really, really mean? And I mean, we take it for granted because in our state, in our, our time, I'm in my 50s, but I mean, if you're in your 40s and 50s, you feel like you have a really good understanding of the world. And the youth, well, they still have something to learn, but that's not true. We learn so much, and we have to prepare this generation. So I know you're passionate about it, Stan. What are some of the things that you think, like for youth, and why is it so important? And why do we have to make sure when we say we're going to involve youth, it means listening. It really means involving youth.
Yeah, it's really neat, because when I do work with young people, still lots of work. When I started doing this, it was all youth. And now that I'm kind of getting older and I got to cover up my grayness and my follicles are producing more white than gray, or white than black, something is starting to happen. I'm starting to do more work, even with elders. I did an elders event. I do a lot of I do chief stuff, and I do community stuff, men's wellness kind of thing. But people are looking for the same thing. And people are looking, again, to be listened to, and they're looking for youthful energy. and they're looking for a spark. That's what they're looking for. And the reason when people feel the spark and they say, okay, this is something special. This person who's up front over here, there's energy and there's passion. It's going to allow me and allow them to feel the same way and bring out a little bit about their passion. When CES is doing something and you guys are at your best and you always are, and then you're inviting people to be honest and to come in and have some fun, but if you say it in a way that doesn't reflect that and there's no congruency, then people don't trust you. But when there is congruency, people get excited and they get pumped up, right?
Yeah.
So, and then when we do that, what happens is we tap into people's lived experience. The elders and the adults have such an incredible lived experience, but the young people have this freshness. And they got this new way of looking at things with their lived experience, but it's all valuable lived experience. Everybody has an opinion on stuff. So when we ask the right questions in the right environments with the right energy, watch out.
Yeah. Yeah, watch out. And you know what? Like I want to challenge all of our friends that are watching today. I would say, we go out and do like an almost an inventory, if you will, a resource inventory of all these great youth that are doing things. And I just think even just filmmaking. And I saw something, and I can do a little shout out to Enoch Cree Nation in Alberta and my friend Amberly. And there was this wonderful youth that developed this video that I was just blown away by. And these youth are doing these things, and we kind of just take it for granted. Oh, that's that generation. We don't understand what they're doing. They're all technology. They're all this, they're all that. But oh my goodness, find out all of these innovators and these sparks, as Stan has said, and get them and nurture them and add and let them grow that fire, right? Like fueling them, because that is your future.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's neat because they're the future, but they're also like they're like just as much as the present of everybody else. And one of the things that our young people don't want to hear, and I hear this, I did an event one time. Here's another quick story. I did an event one time, and at the beginning of the event, I'm like, "You guys are the future. You're the present. You're the present. Don't let anybody ever tell you the future because you're now. The ones that are the future aren't born yet, but you guys are here." I was going on about that, right? So somebody of leadership, I'm not going to say who, comes in, and the first thing he says is this: "You guys are the future." And I'm standing up against the wall alongside, and I could see 300 eyes look at me. And what did I do? I went like this. I didn't know what to say. But like when we treat the kids that they have something valuable to share.
Now.
Right? Absolutely. Right now. They have lived experience. They have joy. They got hurt. They got pain. They got feelings. They got a past, they got a future, they have a present, just like everybody else. The ingredients are all there, right? Just like everybody else. The cup might be not as full, might be starting up, but what's in there is just as valuable as everybody else's. So we need to untap that. Man. Because if we want it to be a community effort, the whole community has to be involved. When we say this is community, and the kids are like, "What? We never said anything. They never came to us." Then is it really community effort?
Yeah. Oh, hey, Amanda, did you have any questions for us?
No, this is great. I'm learning so much, and I just it's contagious. I feel both of your passions right now, and I'm just like at the seat of the couch here listening. So
the passion is running worldwide. It's running worldwide, Amanda.
I know. I love it.
and I can't tell you, out of, and I said this on our last chat, Stan, out of, every negative, there's always a positive. That's how I live my life. Whatever comes my way, there's an opportunity to make it in a positive. And I think now we have, again, I was reminded by someone yesterday that the world has been woke. And it's like the Indigenous communities all across, not even just in Canada, but in the world, there's this light of saying, you know what, this is so special, and this is the time. And I couldn't think of, in Canada, the amount of growth that happened in Indigenous tourism, but just the amount of awareness, this opportunity. This is the time. I feel a pivotal moment in history where we are going to have such great momentum taking care of Indigenous people. That's my hope. That's the only way I can think, Stan.
And when people come to our communities, they're not coming there just to spend money. They're not coming here just to experience something, but they're coming there to find things. That's what that's why they come. And I was in a community one time. I was in Haida Gwaii, and Haida Gwaii adopted me. One of the clans adopted me, and it was such a beautiful experience. And but I went there, and my first trip before they adopted me, I ran into this non-Indigenous couple. And they came just to help, and they weren't originally from Haida Gwaii, and they were just kind of touring around. And then I managed to kind of sit down with them because I love to meet people, and I love to sit and ask a little bit about their story. And then they said, "Yeah, we're not from here. We're from wherever. That's somewhere, not from there." And I said, "We were traveling around because we hated everything." We just hated the world. We hated people. We just felt so let down. And then we came here. We came here looking for something. And here we don't hate. Here we found something, and we found purpose here. We found a connection here. We found some answers here. And I believe that's what you're talking about when we talk about tourism. We're not just talking about showcasing our best, but we're talking about giving people a chance to experience something special, to make something lasting, to have an imprint on their spirit and on their soul, and they can walk away knowing that they found something special. Right?
Yeah. And the United Nations, one of the declarations is that tourism can be used for reconciliation, and I truly believe that. And I mean, if we always use the definition tourism, but what happens if we said, if you went to a community and you got to know the people, that's reconciliation. And then after that, you can label it that was tourism because they weren't from there. They're from here or from there. Yeah. And that connection of just people, right? You gotta have people.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, people want to come to our communities and they want to feel good. And when it comes down to reconciliation, when it comes down to these kind of Indigenous programs and multicultural type of programs, Indigenous awareness stuff, the stories that are told there aren't necessarily the stories that we really truly want to tell the world about the beauty of our culture.
Yeah.
Those stories aren't always the most feel-good stories, and people walk away a little confused and a little guilty, and a little sad, and that's those we need to take time to tell people the stories that hurt, but we also need to make people feel welcome in our house. So when I do work, I make sure to create an environment where they want to stay, and there's some trust, and there's like they're taking off their shoes, and they're having some banter, we're getting comfortable. And I like to showcase the best of who we are first, and lay that strong foundation. This is who I am, and but not necessarily who I am, but who you are, and what are our differences, what are our similarities, and we all have a story to tell. And okay, now let's get to work, and let's speak to what's happening and what had happened. After that, there's that relationship building, right? Which I believe is a very important piece that isn't established at the beginning.
The common thread when I hear you say that, Stan, is humanity.
Yeah.
And so and we've had people say, well, we don't want to show them this. Should we show them this? This is too hard. Like, we want to keep it Disney-like, and I say no. Who you are is who you are, and that's what makes it beautiful. And that's what attracts, actually. If you look at all the research, as you said earlier, the couple that you met, they're looking to find themselves, to connect. And who better to connect with than the original keeper? That's what I say. Like, go to the source.
People just want to go home. Right? They just want to go home. That's all.
Yeah.
They just want to find homes. A lot of people don't have home, and a lot of our community members in our communities don't feel like home. That are looking for a safe place where their spirit can be free.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's the importance of doing the work that you do and facilitating tourism in the communities, is because it gives people it to give some people within the communities a better a sense of belonging, that, you know, like, hey, hold on here, this place is special, this territory is special, this territory isn't a remote place, because we tend to do this. I one of my pet peeves is when we call our territory remote, or when we tell when we say it's isolated, because it's not. Like, that's our territory, that's the center of our universe. Just like the Walmart down there 500 kilometers away, that's remote to us. That government service 300 kilometers away, that's remote to us. This is our center of our universe. So when I go into a community the first time, I say, it's so nice to be here in your home. The people have always been here. You'll always will be here. I'm remote to you. This is your center. I'm so honored. Not that, I felt so bad for these kids. There's this one guy that came into the community, and I was there as a guest, and he says, I feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere. And I went, what a hurtful thing to tell kids. We're always there. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
And we're all searching for that. And we're all searching for that place, whether we know it or not, to get away from the noise, to go to that place, go home. I think about it for myself, and I can't wait to go back home for myself, because it's just, and I said this last time, it's the smells, it's the, it's just, you know, you belong. That where you belong, right? It's where you should be. So, and if you can share that with other people and they can feel that from you, my goodness, it's a good feeling.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was up in the Manitoulin, I forget what it's called, but the new hotel and conference center in Little Current.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Manitoulin is.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So I was there. I was with the first event that was there after it opened. And they had some concierge, and they had some young people because the elevator wasn't working right. It was right in the middle of that strike, So they had like 4 concierges. They're helping people up and down the stairs. And I was talking with this one guy who's non-Indigenous from one of the AFIs who works with the incredible Don Madabi and the Wabatek team, part of that network in the North Shore. And he was saying, you know why I love this? Can I tell you why I love it here? He's like, these people working here take pride in what they do.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, that's what it's about. Whatever you decide to do, take pride in what you do and master it. Even if it's not what you want to do, you know, like your career goal, master that skill. Take pride in it, because when it's time to figure out what you want to do, then you've already mastered a bunch of skills, and you just move in. You already have the recipes for success, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just so nice, like, to sit and listen to this guy, because this guy's been all over the world. He's like, these people take pride, and I went, yes.
And once again, you said that key word. It's people. It's people first, then, you know, product second. So
yeah, that's right.
Hey, Amanda, you got any questions for us yet?
Well, I do actually. I'm very curious about this game that your game, Stan.
Okay, perfect. My dad just had a birthday a few days ago, and I spend a lot of time with my dad. Obviously, he's my dad, and you know, I listen to a lot of stories and that kind of thing. When I was in kindergarten, about the same age as my 5-year-old, I lived in Timmins, and my dad worked with the Cree Cultural, the Ojibwe Cree Culture Center. I believe that's what it was called back then. I think it might be the same name or very similar. But he was an educator there, and so he'd make videos and about games. And it was on his birthday, shortly before the great Mary Lou Itale from Musqueam Territory passed away. And Mary Lou was this wonderful, beautiful, incredible educator. Just everybody loved Mary Lou. She was one of the amazing people that were in one of my dad's videos, speaking about traditional games, when I was 5 years old. One of the games that they talked about was a Tabahan. And here I am, 48 years old, doing videos about the Tabahan. I was, oh my God, when I saw it, I'm like, I just got goosebumps. So it was so wonderful. So the Tabahan's always been a big, very, very important part of my family and an important part of the culture. And I asked my dad, where's the Tabahan come from? And my dad's like, we don't know. There may be a story out there somewhere. But he's like, you ever go out and you see something and you go, I wonder what the story is behind that. But before you even seek it out, you just enjoy its beauty and its wonder.
Yeah.
And he's like, while we're waiting for the answer, son, let's just enjoy its beauty and its wonder. And I'm like, that's so beautiful, right? So while I seek out the teaching, if there's any, I am just enjoying its beauty and its wonder. So I used to play this when I was a kid. And it's made with caribou bones and moose hide or caribou hide. He made me one a few years ago when he was up in 415, which is on the Cape of Hudson Bay and James Bay. They came across some caribou. And it's originally made out of the moose knuckles, I believe. And in the game, the bone started breaking. So I was like, so I was carrying it around with me all over the country. And then after the bone started breaking, I had to put it in my cabinet. So now it's upstairs and it's delicate. And I'm actually loaning it to a museum because I think it would be a good place to kind of educate on our traditional game. So, okay, short and sweet. This is the new version, and the new version of the Tabahan is made of modern day materials. Once I retired that game and I didn't bring it with me anymore, people were like, "Where's your Tabahan? I want to play with your Tabahan. Where is it?" I'm like, oh. So I got it. I got these 3D rendered on CAD, and they look very similar to the other bones. So I'm going to take a step forward here, and then if you notice, we got the 9 bones, 9 here, and then we got this top piece right here, and then we have this stamped out, and then we have this right here, and that's the stick. So what you do with it is you play with it, and it's great for dexterity with kids and coordination and stuff, and adults and elders. But you swing it and you try and catch as many bones as you can without getting it in the fire. And then 5 bones, 5 points. Hey, got it?
Okay.
when we get it in here like this, and that's the money maker right there. That's 25 points. That's the highest you can get.
Oh, nice.
And here would be 5 points right there. So I started getting them printed, and I believe the 3D company charged me $100 to print the bones, and it takes about 12 hours to print or something like that. I don't know how long it took them. It's like I thought, eventually I want to be able to share this with people. So I printed a couple of them, gave one away in a contest, and people were like, I'd love to buy one. Where can I buy one? Once we moved from the small little place in Toronto, we moved back here, we got lots of room. I picked up a bunch of printers and I started printing, and we started selling. And the reason why I thought this was an important item to share and to generate some revenue for my family, because there's not too many Indigenous games on the market. Like, you see a lot of crafts, clothing, t-shirts, jewelry, beadwork, and it's all beautiful, moccasins, dresses. It's all beautiful, it's all amazing, but there's no games on the market. So this right here for us kind of filled a void, and we're sharing the beautiful culture with the world. And this game here has been played by my people and my family dating back hundreds, thousands of years, pre-contact. We don't know. But this is the ancient game. This is an ancient game. And the spirit of this is the same as the original one. We play together. Yeah. That's what
but Stan, I just wanted to bring up something. You see, for our friends out there, your intention wasn't to make money.
Oh yeah.
Your intention was, because when you looked at what your father
Nice.
what your father had done for you, and that was so special to you, and you wanted to recreate it and you wanted to honor it. That's where it started. And then there was a way, and this is what we say with tourism too. If you have that passion for the culture first, then other things come, right? So Stan's been selling these a lot, and a lot of organizations have been ordering them. I think he's got all his printers. And I asked him, I said, straight out, Stan, be honest with me. Are you paying your children to make this? I just wanted to know because the youth are important. And so, yeah, he's had the girls. He's got 2 beautiful girls. So he's had the girls help him out a little bit doing it. And it looks like fun. And I think it's a little bit, you know what? I think this would have been fun to do while we were watching the tennis match. If we would have both had while the game was going on, that would have been fun.
That's all I've ever been hearing as the balls are on.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right on the money there, Clinton. Like, it's one thing to generate some revenue, but it's another thing to actually share this with the world and share the story, and that's what it's about, right? Yeah. I had a friend of mine, Blake, from Tikmishing. I think it's a Tikmishing by Sudbury. I believe it's a Tikmishing. I'm not sure, Blake. If you get this, I apologize if I'm identifying the wrong community. But he actually bought one, and then he shared it. His grandmother saw it, and his grandmother says, "We had a game like that when I was a kid, and I think the original game's in my attic."
Wow.
And so people for multiple generations are connecting with this, and people are remembering this game from their background and from their childhood. It's just so wonderful to kind of like help people to kind of connect with family using this game. It's like, and it's just like the one thing to play, but to tell stories. It's like, again, right? It's all about the story. Yeah. I have an orange one here.
So our friends that are doing the youth cultural camps or anything like that, hey, this is a great activity. So we'll make sure we put a link for you, Stan, because that's just good stuff. We'll make sure that our friends here at Facebook can link on with you and get some of those going. Awesome. Look at we started talking about timing and how important it is, and how important it is to listen to stories. We're over. We're over by I don't know how much. You know what? That's how it goes, and that
exactly.
Right, Stan? Like that's
definitely. Really quick, if you don't mind, guys, about this, because I think it's really important. This one here, after the news of the 215 children and the rest that are being found all over the country, it's just so sad. But my 5-year-old, she's like, "Daddy, let's make an orange Tabahan." 5-year-old. So this one here is called the Tinonas Tabahan, and it's written on here, and it says, "Every child's matter here." And if you look, that's a heart with a heart in the middle. And this Tabahan's a very, very special Tabahan, because this Tabahan is a gifted Tabahan. This Tabahan here, people can buy for themselves. This Tabahan here is meant as a gift. So we're going to roll this out really soon. So companies, organizations can buy a bunch of these Tabahans, and we will find a home for these Tabahans, whether it be a school or community or a friendship center around the country. But this is meant to give kids and give families. So if you're a family and you want one of these, you can't buy it. It's meant to be gifted. So if somebody out there from a business that wants to say, what can we do? Buy these, and then 30% of our profits will go into a charity. So that's what we're going to do. All like my 5-year-old beautiful brainchild. So the whole point of this is to gift a beautiful game that would have been played by these children that were taken away from.
Yeah.
And now in this generation, we're sharing in the spirit of play by something traditional. And the reason why it's called Tinonas is because that's my daughter's name. It's also my first daughter's second name, and my wife's late mother's name. So Tinonas Tabahan is not just referring to our loved ones, but it's all children. That's what it means.
Miigwech for that, Stan. Thank you for giving us that gift. And look at the power of youth. There you go. There's the power of youth.
Exactly. Oh, good job. Yeah.
Stop practicing. I know you're going to make me play when I come over. I know you're going to make me play, so I don't think it's fair that you keep practicing.
I'm a pro. There's no way you're going to win. Although I met this Inuk from Labrador, and he took his Tabahan, and his very first swing, he scored a 25, and I went, whoa. What happened? Not saying it's gonna happen to you, Clinton, but you know, like it just
Yeah, there is that beginner's luck sometimes.
it
You never
does
know.
happen. It does happen.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Well, I think it's a good time, Stan. You know, I think we're going to use a theme song. It's from my part of the world to close things out. So, and because you're by the fire there, so if you feel like you want to get up and do a little dance to the Stan, I'm okay with it. I will. I mean, how it couldn't get any worse than seeing you in the tennis outfit I saw you. All right. So thank you so much, Stan Wesley, for coming today. Thank you, everybody. I challenge you all to go out, give all of your family a big, big hug, spread the love, do what you do for your culture, do what's right for your community. We'll see you soon. Dance it out. Here we go.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh,
Everybody, I love you. All of you.
Aw, thanks.
That's so beautiful.
goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks so much, everyone.
Let's see a groove a little bit, Clinton. There we go. Okay, there we go. I'd love to be able to look that good without a shirt on. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and be eating at the same time.
Exactly. A man can dream. Thanks for sharing this, Clinton. It's so beautiful.
Bless you all. Be good to your community. Bye, everyone.
Yes. Bye-bye.